Hello there, gamerinos and gamerinas. Welcome to UnicornStorm. This is Rady, and today I'm going to tell you whether or not Doom 3 VR is worth your while. So, to get this out of the way, this is the definite Doom 3 experience. And it's a damn good addition to any VR library. And yeah, I know the game's a bit controversial, but to be honest, when it first came out in 2004, I really liked it. I really did enjoy it. But then again, I was never that much into Doom. I didn't really play the first-person shooters of old. I didn't play Doom or Wolfenstein or Duke Nukem or Hexen. Well, I did play Hexen for a bit. This wasn't really my genre. I only needed my platformers or action-adventures or JRPGs, and I couldn't have cared less for first-person shooters. In fact, it was Halo Combat Evolved that really got me into this genre. So when Doom 3 released, and since I had a relatively new PC, I obtained it on the internet and played it and fucking loved it. I mean, this was like survival horror in space, in first person, which made it even scarier. Zombies shambled around corners and horrible monsters attacked you and were right in your face, and it was just awesome. And yeah, I guess if I had played the original Doom, then maybe this would have left a bad taste in my mouth. Because it's not really Doom. I mean, it uses a lot of Doomish iconography and designs and stuff like that. But no one would have really noticed if they had just called it, well, anything else. It's still a fine game, but I wouldn't have admitted it at the time. So yeah, if you're a Doom purist and also think that everything within a franchise should conform to the same blueprint or frame, then don't waste your time. This game isn't for you, just play one of the million other ones. But if you're open-minded enough to see it as a Doom horror spin-off, or well, just a product of its time, then this whole thing can get pretty interesting. Because now the game is in VR. It's still the same game, so you're this marine guy who lands on Mars and has to report to the commanding officer and look for a science guy. Not that one. And well, hilarity ensues and all hell breaks loose. And now you have to fight zombies and possessed soldiers and monsters and all that good stuff, and try to drive the hordes of hell back to hell. Cutscenes are presented in, I'd call it, cinema mode, so you can't freely look around during cutscenes because, well, it's a movie. And the same goes for your PDA, where you can read messages and listen to audio logs. And well, that was a bit of a missed opportunity, because when you open your PDA, it actually is in your hands and you hold it to your face, and then you're in cinema mode and have to look at a screen in front of you. And it would have been nice if you really have to stare at the physical PDA and click through your messages, and maybe even are able to look around it, maybe to even turn it around in your hand and things like that, and maybe even have the game not pause during PDA usage. That would make it even scarier if you're trying to listen to a message, trying to find out a code for a supply crate, while zombies and imps are still stalking around. But well, that's not the case, and it isn't too bad. It's just something I would have liked to see. One thing they did update I mean, aside from the controls and it being virtual reality, was your user interface. There's no on-screen head-up display. Instead, you have a wristband where you can see your current health and armor, as well as the charge of your flashlight. And yeah, they included the flashlight from the BFG edition and not the original, though it isn't too bad with this version of the game. And you can see how much ammo you have left by, well, taking a look at your weapon. So it's quite immersive in that way, without withholding vital information. I played this game on PlayStation 4, so I can't really talk about the specifics of, for example, the Oculus Rift or the HTC Vive. On PS4, you can either play with a DualShock 4 controller or with the PSVR aim controller. And damn, just for this game I bought myself an aim controller and it feels really good to play with this joystick. Yeah, but joking aside, no matter which controller you use, you walk and turn around using the dual thumbsticks, and you have to press the face buttons to jump or crouch or interact with characters or doors or terminals. But aiming is all done via motion controls. In Doom 2016's VR spin-off, you had to use head tracking for aiming, so wherever you looked was where your shots will hit. Which was pretty neat, but maybe a bit too easy. So now this game uses the 6-axis or maybe the shining light on the controller and the shining light on the aim controller to track where your gun is pointing, and well, that's where your shots will go. Some guns have a targeting laser to make it easier to see where you're aiming, but other guns like the shotgun, well, you just fire blindly at an enemy, and if you're not too far away from it, it will die. Though a unique problem with VR that wasn't there in the original version or isn't in any classic game, since you can lean around and move your arms around, the game can't really account for where your gun is in the game space. So it can happen that you kinda shove your gun through an enemy, well, and when you fire your gun like that, it doesn't hit the enemy, because the barrel is outside behind the enemy, so it's physically not possible for the bullets to hit it. This can happen when enemies rush you or when you run right into an enemy's arms, but most of the time this works fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. I'm playing on normal and I didn't die because of it, but this might be a bigger problem on higher difficulties. And yeah, it's quite fun to run around in VR, look behind you for an enemy, carefully lean around corners, trying to angle the gun in the best possible way so that you have maximum cover while still being able to shoot at an enemy. And when you turn a corner and there's a zombie right there, it really gets to you. But what I really like, what I really enjoy, is how exploration works in VR. Now it's not just scanning the room, bumping into walls, jumping over crates and tables to collect every piece of armor and every clip and every bullet. Now I peek through doors. I duck below a flight of stairs or below a table and I look around. I search every inch for items to find. And well, by that, because everything's right in my face, I realized how much they cheated to get this game to look so beautiful for the time. So many objects are just flat textures on a flat wall. So if you really get close to a door, you see that there aren't panels on it. There aren't wires and circuit boards and whatever on it. It's just a flat door. And I mean, yeah, the game is nearly 20 years old, so I guess it's fine and it works pretty well. Even with these little realizations, I never got thrown out of the simulation. It still felt real enough. And speaking of exploring, the opening of the game lets you just roam around the base. At least the first area. You can find some terminals, read some interesting lore tidbits, talk to characters who all are very busy and have no time for you.
I'm really trying to get this fixed quickly, so, do you mind?
You can even let off some steam at the turkey puncher. Oh yeah, the good old turkey puncher. Where would I be without you? God damn it, no, not the turkey puncher! You bastards! Damn you all to hell! I have a lot of fun with this game, especially with this version of the game. It's not the greatest survival horror game, it's not the greatest shooter. Dead Space pretty much took everything this game did and made it better. I mean, even though the whole base, the whole of Mars City gets taken over by the forces of hell, but you'll never get swarmed by hordes of enemies like you did in the original Doom. And while you need to find keys to open certain doors or codes and combinations to open supply crates, you never have to go out of your way to find those things. PDAs containing a combination are almost always placed near the crate you need to use it on, and the access code that you need to get into the next area is always at the end of a linear path that loops back around to where you were before. The game provides more of an illusion of a non-linear, free-roaming exploration game, while being even more linear than the original game. But I can still respect the game for what it did back in the day. And I got a pretty good, maybe even the best VR experience I've ever played out of it. So that's something. I still haven't played Half-Life Alyx, and I still think that this is the best VR game ever made. But since I haven't played it, I'm quite content with Doom 3 VR. It plays like a regular console shooter with the addition of actual gun aiming and head tracking, and without all these VR crutches. Though you can select some quality of life, anti-motion sickness features like snappy turning and a dark vignette whenever you are moving or turning. So yeah, if you're into VR gaming, if you like shooters, if you want to really feel the dread of being alone in a zombie-infested space station, go get this game. Get a VR headset, get a aim controller, just play it. It is really fucking great. And with that, I bid you adieu. Have a great day. That's it from Rady, and I hope to see you again on the next game.